Hey, my beautiful mama. Welcome back to another episode of Momplex. Really, really special episode for you today. I have an incredible special guest, Megan Tobler. She's host of the Self StartHER podcast, founder of Together, a vibrant community for women building businesses. I love this support. I love this energy because it's so encouraging, but also being honest of what we're also trying to do at the same time, running households, raising kids, trying to create the dream of our life. And I really am excited because I want you to talk about your own, what we just said, messy, beautiful journey and how you've turned that into your mission to help more moms, more women chase their dreams and not apologize for that, right? Like not feel guilty that they want both, right? I want both being a mom and I want both scratching all the itches that I've got. So it's really so exciting that you're here, especially with summer right around the corner, because I want to talk about like the behind the scenes of what it looks like to be a mompreneur so we can support each other to stay motivated. How do we manage the juggle and still feel like ourselves no matter what season of life we're in? So I'd love for you to take a minute to introduce yourself to everybody. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so glad I'm here, and I am more than happy and willing to get into the beautiful, chaotic mess and like beautifulness that this life has created.
Yeah.
But yeah, you said it so beautifully. My name is Megan Tobler. I am the host of the Self StartHER podcast as well as the founder of the Together community. But I will say that it didn't start there. I actually came from a 10 plus year corporate career in sales. I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was chasing the money and the titles and really was tying my kind of quote unquote success to like outside attributes. But I realized that I always wanted to be a mom. I just didn't know how I was going to have both. Like you were talking about, how do you have motherhood and the business? And with my current reality of like working 24/7 around the clock, because in sales, like my salary was commission based. That's really where I was able to make multiple six figures. But it came with a price. Like I said, I was working 24/7. I never really took a day off. Even vacations, I was still closing deals and working through negotiations. And it just, even commuting to work, I was going up to 3 hours on the road each and every day. And I was just scratching my head. How are other moms making this happen? And I just couldn't figure it out. At least with my current reality, there was no way I was going to be able to have that like corporate success in that avenue and have the kind of life as a mom that I wanted. So I took a step back and I was thinking, okay, what can I do to get me closer to where I want to be? And I honestly didn't know where I was going to go with it, but I decided to take a look at my current skill sets and what I was interested in. And I started interviewing people. And that's really where the podcast was born. It was understanding, okay, this woman clearly was able to have both. How did she make it happen? So I started interviewing the women that left corporate and started a business of their own. And I decided to hit record and share it with the world. And honestly, that's where all this beautiful, chaotic mess started, was just being curious and having that innate desire to want more from my life. There's a lot that's gone on since then, but let's just fast forward. But I was let go from my corporate job right after announcing my pregnancy. And that changed everything. So, well, I'll stop there.
Interesting. You know, what I really appreciate and I want to highlight is your outlook at that crossroads, right? So you're sitting here at this place, you're crushing it in your business. It sounds like, you know, you've probably worked your ass off to get yourself to that place. And I think that's something that as a woman, it's hard to walk away from that. Right? Because we have blood, sweat, and tears our way through high school, college, maybe, you know, additional education. And then we think, wait, I'm going to walk away from this to go stay at home with my kids. What was it all for then? What was the education for? What was the 24-hour late nights, those trips for the sales calls? What was it all for? And so I love how you, rather than saying, well, I guess my choice is either stay in this job or have babies, you kind of stepped back and said, how can I redefine this? What's another possibility here? Have you always been that way, or was it just the need to try and find a solution was so big? Because I know there's moms out there who feel so stuck. They don't know how to create another solution for them. So I'm just curious what ignited that for you.
I have to preface this with, I think if someone wants to be like the career-focused mama or the stay-at-home mama, and that's really what you want for your life, like I respect no matter choice that you wanted, but I knew that I wanted a combination of something that would allow me to be like present and at home for my children, but then also to allow me to have a sense of fulfillment of my own outside of my children. And I will also say that if I think that I knew that I wanted this, but I don't know that if I hadn't have been laid off, that I truly would have made that leap because it really was easy to get like soaked into like the money and like the thought of something like so drastically different and the unknown is definitely scary. So you could think of it when I got laid off as two different scenarios. Like this happened to me or this happened for me. And I truly believe that my layoff happened for me because if it wasn't for that instance, I really don't know what my life would look like right now if I would have ever taken the plunge. I say that I would want to, but would I? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that you took that as an opportunity. You know, yeah, your hand was forced, but you flipped that. You didn't let that define you and own you. It's moving out of the victim mentality, which I talk about a lot on my podcast, because I think when we're exhausted and we're run down and we're trying to carry everything, we need that external validation to tell us like, you're doing a good job, you're on the right track. And when we don't get it, it's easy to fall into the, why is this happening to me? Life is so unfair. I'm working so hard. Why aren't things working out? And what's beautiful about your story and your mission is shifting that perspective to become more empowering. Like, wait a second, we are way stronger than that. We have so much more power over our results than we're giving ourselves credit for. Like, look what we've accomplished. Like, look back on your life and let's just write a resume for all the stuff that we've already done. We're pretty magnificent.
Well, and to that point too, I think that I've had, obviously, just like you, a lot of conversations with numerous women out there. And sometimes women are stuck because they think that they have nothing of value to bring to the table. Even if you're a single or even if you're a stay-at-home mom who has never held a full-time, like traditional job, you have skill sets. And that's something that I really want to emphasize is that if you have a passion and a desire to have a business of your own, you are the CEO of your family. You maybe are paying the bills. You are the bookkeeper. You are the chauffeur because you've been you understand how to keep a schedule because you're toting your kids to and from soccer practice. Like, you know how to keep things systematized and organized. Like, you are the CEO of your household. So I just want to also say that because I know, especially when people are thinking about what would I start, there's something for everyone out there. Some people need help in all different areas because we're not all experts and we're not all we don't all have the same areas of genius as one another. So we need what you have to offer. And sometimes you might not realize what your area of genius is just because it comes so naturally to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's such a great message. I'm so glad you pointed that out because it's such a good reminder, right? For us to recognize something that comes so easily to us might not come to somebody else. And that's what makes us each so powerful, right? We're given these gifts and these interests. And that's really helped me so much with my journey is just trusting my own gut. What lights me up? What do I want to learn about and why? Why do I want to read that book or listen to that podcast? There's a reason, right? It's nurturing something that makes us individuals. And that's such a good reminder that we're all so powerful. And, I love for women to be this supportive and to be this encouraging because this stage of life, no one really prepares you for the insecurities, the vulnerability, the identity shifts that are taking place. And we're all, I guess, expected to kind of just figure it out inside our homes by ourselves. And what I'm so thankful with your community and your podcast is you're bringing a lot of this to light. And so you're helping moms and women feel less alone. Because I'm sure a thought that's running through someone's head, like, I don't have anything to offer. Another mom has thought that too, right? So what if we can start supporting and encouraging each other? And I think it's really important for somebody who feels comfortable sharing their story like you to do it as much as possible because your story could change another mom's life. And I think we're all really in this together.
Well, hence the name of my community is called Together, because truly we are doing this together. But you're talking about identity shifts there, and I'm like nodding my head because becoming a mom in itself is a huge identity shift. You can't really mentally prepare yourself for what's coming because you don't know the person that you're going to be once you become her.
Yeah.
And then also, not only did I become like a mom in the same time as I also became an entrepreneur. So I went through just like
two babies
all at once, like this massive identity shift of who am I outside of like the traditional corporate world? Like the biggest thing that I struggle with, and I honestly still struggle with today just because people don't always understand what I do without more of an explanation. It's easy when someone asks you on the street, so what do you do? Mm-hmm. And you say, oh, I'm in sales. Like, and because like I could go into my elevator pitch, but if I didn't want to, like you say, I'm in sales, you're like, okay, if you want to know more, I go ahead and tell you. Now it's a little bit more of a like in-depth, like there's more of a complicated version of myself, but in the most beautiful way. It's not a simple answer for me anymore. It's not like I'm in sales. No, I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I help women, like all these different things. And I think that the identity shift is not talked about enough because the person that you were pre-kids is completely different than who you will become post-kids.
Yep.
And you really can't, like I said, you can't prepare because you haven't met her yet.
Yeah. And you haven't met your kid yet either.
Yes.
You know, I always joke with my husband, you know, I was so obsessed with reading every baby book I could get my hands on before my first child was born because I was anxious. And I thought if I had more information, then I wouldn't kill her. She wouldn't fall in the toilet and drown, right? I just was so concerned about everything. And I was not sleeping well and I was starting to panic. And I remember he came and took the books from me and he was like, stop. You've never been a mom and this person has never existed. These books aren't even written about her. They're written about a general energy of a child. But what we need to do is listen to her and listen to you. And it was that took so much pressure off of me because I was like, oh, wait, we're kind of all going through this together, you know? And that was a big, you know, that was a big shift for me to not expect that I was going to have all the answers day one. And I think because women are very high functioning, we're very capable. We are very hardworking as a general gender. And I think we are able to carry a lot. And so we have very high expectations of ourselves. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 110%. Just the way if I'm going to work out, I'm going to work out till I'm sweating on the floor. If I'm going to eat, I'm going to eat healthy. If I'm going to run a business, it's going to be the best version of that business it could be, right? And so then we expect, okay, great, I'm starting it. Okay, it's going to be all figured out. It's going to be easy. It's going to be successful. I'm not going to have any mistakes. I'm not going to have any regrets. I'm not going to have any stumbles. And then what happens? The stumbles happen. And then we think, oh, I'm the problem. There's something wrong with me. And I think what's really important, especially for you who you are raising a child and you're raising a business at the same time, none of this has ever existed before. So you don't have a blueprint. You are writing it. You are authoring this story as you go along, which is flipping amazing that we even have this opportunity. I love it. But I want us to be honest about the ups and the downs and how we still keep going. It's hard to stay motivated, especially when you open up Instagram and you're looking at this mom and she's like, yeah, I had a retreat and I had 20 people here and we made $5 million. And you're thinking, I could never do that. But then what about the mom who shows up and she's holding her baby and she's like, y'all, I signed a client today. Like, and I put my kid down for a nap. I'm basically a genius, right? And I think those kinds of real life conversations are what will be so encouraging for other moms to step into their genius and be brave. What are some of the biggest surprises, I guess, or your biggest challenges that you've faced as you've been trying to juggle becoming a new mom and building this brand new business?
Well, I will say it's a juggle, just like you said, because I'm an achiever by nature. Like you said, I am one of those women that, like, I think if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
I love it.
But honestly, I think that a lot of us, that actually prevents us from getting started in the first place. So I've actually had to scrap that out and just say, like, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it on my terms. Because, like, you're talking about social media. Like, if you compare yourself to these other people, you're just dooming yourself to fail and to, like, get in that state of, like, anxiousness. Comparison if and used in a good way, like could be very helpful because it's like inspiration of like what to go to, but it also can take you down a really negative rabbit hole. So something that I really had to focus on right now is staying in my lane and putting my blinders on, because everyone is in a different season of life.
Yeah.
And my current season is I built this entire business and podcast while I was either pregnant or newly postpartum. And now I'm literally chasing around a 20-month-old who was my boss. So my day looks very different than someone that has maybe been in business for 10 years and doesn't have any kids. So it's like, okay, I just have to put my blinders on and do me and what works for this season. In my life, what that looks like is like making sure that I'm really prioritizing what matters most. Not every day is a day where I can get a ton of tasks done. So I have to think about, okay, what are the like maybe 1 to 3 most important things that I can get done today and focus on those, because that's a win to me. Everything else is a bonus. So again, it's just, that has been something that I've really had to learn is like blinders and time prioritization, because
Love that.
I don't know if I'm going to get 30 minutes. I don't know if I'm going to get an hour or 3 hours every single day. So you just got to work with what you've got and recognize that this is a season. And one day, we were talking about this pre-record, but like it's always like you're always going to enter a new stage with your children, but there's always something else that's going to add to it. So it's like just embracing what is, you know?
Yeah. I love that. You're really allowing your life to be your life, right? And it's really pretty because first of all, it's so relaxing when you listen to it because it feels so possible, right? Like you're creating space in your day for you to hold all the things that you want to hold. And, you know, I think for a lot of moms, they're chasing this perfect balance, but sometimes balance looks like 90% of my time today was for my kid. That's what balance needed from me today. And allowing it and not shaming ourselves for it. And, you know, what you said, the comparison is like, that's the first thing we should remove.
Well, and I will say, like I mentioned, I was an achiever. So sometimes it is difficult for me to realize that I have a to-do list a mile long and nothing really got accomplished that day. But you know what did get accomplished? I was present for my son because he really needed me. Yeah. So that, in my opinion, is like my number one job right now, is to be there and to raise a really good human. My secondary job is to be able to pour into all these incredible women inside the community and to highlight their stories on the podcast. That is like that's really like what lights me up and what I really get joy from is doing that. But I also want to talk about the fact that when I decided what I wanted to do in this season of motherhood, I made sure that I was creating a business that fit into the life that I wanted, rather than putting myself into the business and like figuring out a way to make it work. And I think that's how I've been able to do it, is I've built this entire mechanism, I guess, around the life that I wanted to create so I could be present for my son 90% of the day. And I think that's something, if being a mom is important to you and really that's your number one priority, I think when people set out to start these businesses, that's so important, is to be able to make sure that you are building something that gives you all the things on your checkbox that like you're checking off. It's not just like causing you to like be away from your kids even more. And then just basically you've created another 9 to 5 for yourself.
Yeah. So really getting clear on your priorities, right? Exactly. Like really getting clear on what are you building and why, right? Like what is that day? And I think what you've done a really good job of is finding what lights you up and brings you joy, so that when you are away from your child, you are filling up your cup still, right? So you're not necessarily walking into a job that you resent, a job that you hate, which is an energy drain, right? And then, so you're fulfilling your own buckets, like you're filling your lack, which is such a beautiful model for moms. You know, it's like, how can we empower ourselves and create that inner zen and trust that what our inner genius is there for a reason. And I think that's so nice, because then it removes the shame and the guilt, right? Of course, yes, we want to be with our kids 24/7. And when we're with our kids, we're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to get on that podcast and check all those things off. It's definitely habits to get used to. It's that conversation that you have with yourself, right? Like you were saying, this is just what today looks like, and I'm going to be okay with that. But now that I want to talk about the community. I want to talk about that, because this is really such a beautiful, first of all, community. More than anything, I think moms understand we are a part of one of the coolest clubs that has ever been generated in the world. Maybe our 24 hours each day looks different, but when our head hits the pillow, I bet we all want the same thing, to raise incredible humans and to provide our kids with everything that we could ever provide and to love them silly, right? Like we just want to create that environment. I think a lot of times moms get caught up in their autopilot day and end up having conversations only with toddlers, and they feel very disconnected from life. And their only connection is grabbing their phone, right? Scrolling on social media or watching reality TV. Hello. But I think a lot of times we can forget that there is another person out there who's like, girl, I get it. I'm having the same day. Let's do it together. So talk to me about the community. How did it get born? How can she get involved? And what is it doing for her?
Well, I think that a lot of us have all created something out of a need that we personally had. And I talked about when I went into motherhood, it was an identity shift. And it was also a period of where I was really alone, just like the same thing that I experienced when I was let go of my corporate job and jumped into entrepreneurship. Yeah. It was very lonely. In corporate, I had a built-in like family kind of quote, but like where I was able to collaborate and touch base with during the day. Even though I was working remotely already, I felt connected. And when I lost that, it felt like empty, honestly. And again, when you're entering into motherhood, they don't talk about this, but you're up at all hours of the night when the world is sleeping, all the lights are off, and you're completely alone with you and your child. And so I was sitting there, and I knew that I'd already had this podcast, and I knew what lit me up was these women and these stories. And the more like I entered into this motherhood era, the more and more I was attracting these moms into my world. And I was seeing the impact it was having on me personally, being connected to these women that have gone through things ahead of me and how it was helping me not only grow in my business, but also in my personal life. So as I was thinking about how the next level I wanted to take this business, it was a no-brainer question. It was like answer. I knew I wanted to create a space for these women to be able to connect with each other, but I didn't want it to just be a business community, and I didn't want it to just be a mother community, because I'm a complex being, as I know so many other women are, and I wanted both. But having both, it's possible, but it looks different than maybe what you imagined when you weren't when you weren't just one. Now you're both. So it's like I can have both. It just looks totally differently. So inside the community, first of all, I'm not claiming to have it all figured out. Like I'm the first one to tell you that like it's messy, it's beautiful, it's chaotic, but it's real and it's raw and it's vulnerable. And that's what I was looking for. I'm an aggregator. I'm a connector. So I'm not claiming to be like the expert at everything, but what I am an expert at is bringing the right people into the room. And so like you, Scotty, I know you're coming in to be a guest speaker in one of our masterclasses. So I'm bringing in women like you who are moms and experts at their craft to be able to help these women in business and in life. So in 1 month, we might be talking about like your email copy or your sales page. Another one might be like time management as a mom and setting boundaries to be able to make sure that we're really encapsulating this entire woman and all of her needs, because she can have both, but it looks very differently than the other experts that are out there where they're just saying hustle harder. We can't hustle harder. We're working.
Can't do more.
We can't do more. We're already doing everything. So how can you be more efficient with the time that you have and have everything that you've ever wanted, essentially?
Oh my gosh.
That's what we're bringing into life in the community.
Is that your mission statement? That should be on like billboards everywhere, right? I love it.
Because it's recorded, because I don't even remember what I just said.
Well, and I think what is the real beautiful message is what you want is okay. It's okay to want it, right? I think that's something for a long time. I'm 48, so I'm Gen X. And when I became a mom, I had several people come up to me and say, well, hope you had fun because your life is over now.
Oh, yeah.
You now live for your kids. And at first I followed into that. I said, yes, absolutely. And then I started to feel very frustrated and disconnected and very lost because that wasn't really my blueprint, my formula. I also, like you, I like to stay connected to myself as a human and also be the best mom. And I know if I learn how to do that my way, that does allow me to be the best mom. And I felt a lot of guilt wanting more than just motherhood, because a lot of people told me how lucky you are. You know, many people cannot have babies, so you should be so blessed. And if you want more, that's a you problem and you should go figure that out. Until eventually I just had to be brave and face this grief and face this shame and realize, wait, this isn't shameful. I am actually yelling less. I'm sleeping better. I'm laughing more. I'm more present with my kids. I don't wish the moments away. I'm not waiting till nap time or bedtime because I'm so unbelievably tired. And when I started talking about it, other moms started saying, me too, me too. And then I felt less alone and I felt less afraid. So kind of to your point, if you're not even sure what you want to do, but you're meant for more, start there and join this community. And then you'll realize, wait, there are other people just like me. This isn't as scary as I thought, right?
Totally. And first of all, I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. I know that that's unfortunately the norm. Like a lot of people choose to put their values on other people. And it's like, you just have to do you. But moms, like no matter what we do, someone's going to have an opinion. Yeah. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, then you're not a present mom. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom, then you're not ambitious. And like, there's just, the list goes on and on. But the reality is like, everyone's going to do what's best for them. And there's no right or wrong way to do any of this. But if you do have like that little itch inside of you that like, you want to be like more of a stay-at-home mom and you also want to have a business, I'm here to tell you, you can.
You can.
And that's like, if you need help and support, that's what the community was for. So I could name off all the benefits that you get inside of it, but honestly, it's more of a feeling. It's more of like the feeling you get when you're connected to all of these people. There's a ton of communities out there. And I'm an advocate for joining a bunch, seeing where you connect with people and like going all in on those places. Like you can't just have one. And that's why I also really wanted to make sure when I did this community, much to a lot of people's advice not to do. But it was very important to me to have a free option inside this community. I can't tell you how many people told me I was making a mistake by doing that, that I needed to monetize from day one and it didn't feel right. And I created this because I wanted something that I needed. And I knew when I was let go and a new mom, I didn't have the funds to invest into something else, but I knew I had the drive and the initiative to be able to get to where I wanted to go. And so I believe that there's plenty of abundance to go around for everyone. And I know you do the same, Scotty. So it's like, I believe what comes around goes around. And if you are looking for a place where you can feel seen and supported and also to have the resources that you need in order to like elevate your life and your business, like there's an entry level way to get that. But if you even want to take it a step further, when you do have the funds that you can invest, then you'll get even more value. But like, there's a spot for everyone inside of this. So it's just a very easy way to be able to make sure like you are seen, heard, and supported.
I love it. I'm so glad you trusted your gut. What a beautiful example of how you were talking about you kept your blinders on, right? You stayed in your lane and you trusted yourself and now you don't have any regrets about it. And I think, even thinking about when we were in high school, the peer pressure, right? Whenever I let myself get peer pressured, I always regretted it. And I just knew deep down that I knew what was best for me. And I just, over time, you practice listening. Moms, we can do the same thing. Just like you said, everyone will have an opinion. But if you feel good about, like when you lay your head on the pillow at night and you're like, you know what? Maybe all they did was eat a saltine cracker, but they ate and we got to watch a movie on the sofa together. Like, I am mom of the year. I feel so good about that.
100%. But I will say, like, from a business perspective, like that maybe wasn't like the decision that was going to get me to where I wanted to financially be as fast as possible. It's definitely the long play, but I believe that you have to do like what feels right for you. And like, again, what comes around goes around. So I'm not there yet, but I will get to the financial number that I want to be at.
You will.
But it's going to be based on like goodness and heart. It's not going to be about just like, I really want to I just want to create a place for everyone to be able to get the support that they need. And I have to believe in myself.
You have it in your vision. You know exactly what this community is supposed to look and feel like coming from your heart, right? You already know it. And I think you're trusting yourself that it's inevitable. It will be a success if you're doing it your way. And yes, it might take longer than some of those gurus on social media, but maybe that's the perfect divine timing that's meant for you, right? And I think there's
Absolutely.
also, we have to trust that things come to us when we're ready for it. And we also have to trust that things will develop, in our favor. I always believe that the universe has our back. Going through this right now, my daughter's 18. We just went through the college application process, which personally was brutal.
I believe it.
I'm going to do a podcast. Come to me if you have college age. I mean, if you're thinking about college, I'll help you through it. You can learn from my mistakes. But there was a lot of colleges that rejected her, and it was gutting. And I'm sitting here sitting on my hands, just trying to keep quiet. I'm like, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. She wasn't ready to hear that. She needed to go through it and come to that realization herself. And so it took a little longer for her to get to that understanding that she's going to end up exactly where she's meant to end up. And I think we have to trust that all of that information comes to us when we're ready, right? Like all of it comes to your kid learns how to swim when they're ready to learn how to swim, right? Yeah. Your business will it'll be a 7-figure business when you're ready and you have the capacity for it. And it's just developing and growing. And I think we have to trust that timing, that what is playing out for us is exactly what's meant to be. And life is happening for us, not to us, right?
Exactly.
And so
100%.
if I have some moms listening, I have a lot of moms in my community who are solely stay-at-home moms. I've got a blend of the working from home mom and then some working out of the house moms. What does it look like to get involved, and how would they, where should they start if they wanted to learn more about the community?
Well, first of all, you can go to selfstarter.com/together, and that's where you'll be able to find all the information right then and there. You'll be able to get tapped into immediately the virtual network, so you can go and chat with other women and see who's inside. So that way you can get a feel for who your people are. And I actually encourage you to connect with them outside the community too. That's where a lot of the magic happens. And obviously you and I met inside of Like-Minded Collective, and I 100% love that community, and just the connections that came from that are everything. And we've been able to take this relationship outside. So start with that. And then also attend our networking calls. It's once a month, live. We do make sure that everyone gets the spotlight to be heard and to be seen, like I was talking about. Once a month masterclasses, sometimes two if we have extra week in the month. So I always love those. We have coaching. So I bring in some of those high level coaches that have high ticket prices that us new business owners and moms can't afford on a one-to-one basis. So we're giving that to you at an extremely affordable rate.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's been very transformational, and this is our second month inside the community. So we've done 2 sessions so far, and they have been an absolute hit, and people are just craving this information. So again, it's just bringing all these different resources that normally you would have to pay for and pay quite a bit of money for to you for either free or at literally $19 a month or $190 a year if you pay in full. So it's honestly, a cup of maybe a cup and a half of coffee. I don't even know.
2 Starbucks, right? The $20 a month. Is that 2 Starbucks, right?
So obviously I could talk about the value all day, but again, it's how you want to feel and how you want to be heard and seen as you're in this stage of motherhood and entrepreneurship as well. I admire you offering the free entry, because I love that a woman wouldn't have to say no because of that. Right? She gets to still feel included and a part of it, even if she's day one of her business or she just dreamed up her business last night. Right? And so Absolutely.
I think that's a beautiful opportunity that you're offering moms, and especially if somebody wants to just come in and, zhuzh around and see if this is the right community for me and take a masterclass. And I do want to just second to what you said. Not only are these resources that you're bringing into this community priceless, a lot of these coaches, a lot of these speakers won't do these types of events unless you pay them, a good amount of money. So the fact that you have exposure to that is incredible, especially in an intimate environment, which is it's amazing. But there's going to be a lot of new moms, new entrepreneurs who don't even know what they don't know. And in your community, you're sharing information with them that they would never have even thought of, right? So your expertise, and you're bringing people together and identifying, oh my gosh, this is a great topic. I know this is going to resonate. I think that's so empowering, because it means that she doesn't have to do that work.
Oh, totally. And I also want to highlight too, something that I actually haven't announced anywhere yet is we're doing an upcoming summit in September. So it's designed to be like after the kids go back to school, you like are taking a breather a little bit. But we're doing an online virtual summit as a way to get introduced into the community. But everything for an entire week straight, this is going to be completely different than what we typically do. But it's designed to be able to kind of give you that little oomph that you need in your business and your life. But every day, the whole theme is if I only had 30 minutes a day, this is what I would do. So these guest speakers are going to come in and they're going to come in and talk about a specific topic and say like, okay, if I'm a busy mom and I only had 30 minutes to maybe focus on PR, this is what I would focus on. This is the most important activity. And so we'll have that for business. Like we're having a time management person coming in. So every day there'll be two different for a week straight, two different recorded sessions that you can listen to or watch at your own at leisure. Cause obviously like as a mom, I understand like you can't always come at live, and making sure that these are like super impactful, short, straight to the point. And I'm really excited because we just brought on Marina Middleton from Create and Cultivate, the CEO, as our keynote speaker for it. So it's just
amazing.
Talking about timing, like sometimes it's like pinch me moments sometimes to realize that things are happening at the right time as they should. But again, we're just designing this truly for the mama.
I love it. I love it. That is going to be so helpful and so interesting. I will definitely be there. I love that. If you had 30 minutes a day, because like you said, that might be all you get. So, and that way, if you know that you accomplished that, check and you can move on with your life without, second guessing or leaving part of your soul at your laptop and trying to go show up, and take care of your kids. I love that so much. If they click the link to your community, all that information will be available to them when it's ready and up on the website.
When it's ready. Yeah, okay. The summit's not quite uploaded yet, so stay tuned for that. We'll be for that in August, but lots of goodness coming on. So just sign up for the community if you're wanting to just tap into that, because you'll have access to the summit when it does go live come September.
Yeah. And definitely sign up because I'm going to be in there talking about habit stacking in August. Which is perfect to help them roll into this 30 minutes, right? Because you could habit stack in those 30 minutes and then just be a superhuman. We already are. We're just tapping into our genius.
And it's interesting. You're talking about timing. When you and I originally set out the schedule for when you were going to come talk in the community, I didn't have the summit plan, and it just like beautifully works out that you're talking about that right before we're going into something like that.
I love it. I love it.
It's a happy accident, right?
It is. Yes.
It's
all divine timing. I love it. Well, this has been incredible. Is there any other thing, I guess, if you only had 30 minutes a day, what would you focus on? If you had 30 minutes a day to focus on building your community right now, what would you do? What would your 30 minutes be?
Right now, my focus is getting on shows like this because I've learned that I know that visibility is important in order to like get more like people to be alerted, I guess, of what you're doing. But I also learned that I don't enjoy being on social media every day. That I tried that for a while and it drained me. So right now it's visibility. So it's getting in front of podcasts like this, and also like different PR strategies. So that's really what my number one focus is right now, as far as like just getting the word out, just because there's so many incredible women inside the community that it's not about me. I feel like I'm helping them by getting the word out, because I'm just then attracting more incredible women with each other.
I love it. You're paying it forward. It's beautiful. Well, Megan, you are a bundle of energy. It's like I have a smile on my face this whole conversation. I love what you're building. I think it's absolutely needed. There's going to be a lot of women out there who this is exactly what they didn't know they needed. And so all the links will be in the show notes. So you can follow the podcast, you can join the community, learn more about it. And I'm just so happy. Is there any way that they can reach you or connect with you outside of those two links, or are those the best places to go?
Instagram is probably where I'm the most responsive as far as just like a casual chat, but you can always send me an email, hello@selfstarter.com, and I'm super responsive there too. But Scotty, this is something that I'm going to just throw out there, but you are just an incredible woman for starters, but like just the most amazing host of a podcast. So I just want to throw that out, because I know after I hit record, and if I get a compliment, I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that was recorded. I wanted to make sure that this was recorded for you because you're just amazing at your craft and what you do. So thank you so much for hitting record on conversations like this all the time.
Well, you're so sweet. It's easy when I get to talk to people like you. It makes me pinch myself. Is this really my job? I'm so lucky. So thank you so much. You're incredible. Definitely check out all the links in the show notes. Megan's changing the world for us mamas.